I'm sure we can find a way. But yeah, like it's interesting to kind of different experiences, but you get different poses. Like I said it's from experience because I remember doing an assignment. This is something I did in my late college days where I painted a set of my relatives. It was my father, my aunts and uncles on my mother's side,
Yeah,
and they yeah, and just having to go through the different kinds of like poses. Mind you, some of these photos were some of them were just taken. I'm kind of snuck it in the middle of like a family gathering, just like real quick. Some of them were directly onward, like I had my camera like say cheese, and that it does give a different quality. Some of them like more conversational. I literally caught them mid word, mid sentence, and it's like it just has such a different quality. So if you want to try that, like something like even if it's just snapping a bunch of photos of a family member at a gathering or something, a family member who's not gonna mind paintings of you. I know some of mine didn't. My grandmother, the reason why I didn't know one for my grandmother, she didn't want one. She didn't want a portrait, so that's why I made a painting of her. But like the next time you have like any kind of family, I don't know when that's gonna be. But you ever find that just kind of
so staged or posed?
Yeah, like take a smorgasbord of photos, just going snap, 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 snap. Just in the middle of it, and just having them talk about these things and get them in that environment. And I think you'll get a wider variety of shots and poses with that. And I think it'll give you the kind of spice you're looking for. Although I think you're doing a really good job with these lounging poses as well.
Thank you.
Can I?
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I mean, I just kind of wanted to comment. I was like trying to write things down so I don't forget. But one of the things that I really kind of enjoyed about them being more direct and looking at us, you were in fashion, and a lot of these portraits to me seem very fashion forward and very Vogue like, and holding the dog, very Ralph Lauren. And so for me, I think it's very much you put yourself into these paintings. So I think it's very much a reflection of your fashion background and your illustration background. So for me, I mean, I think that's what a fashion magazine does. I mean, they capture these high-end moments where you're holding your dog, and it's not, so I mean, for me, I really thoroughly enjoyed that. And I think that you did capture that for me, and I love the color choices. They just were so rich and lovely and vibrant, and all the detail in the fabrics. I mean, again, it goes back to your fashion and illustration. And I mean, all of it is you, Marilyn, like your heart and soul, everything in there is you. And I love that, you could tell it's authentically you. It's all you is art, you're in the painting. So I really loved all of that. I love that you used family members to paint. I love the tender moments in some of them, the lounging ones. And yeah, I was trying to write things down. So if you ever see me looking down, that's what I'm doing. So I don't forget to say all these important things, but
I understand.
I loved it. So
yeah.
There are a couple of paintings that I didn't have in person. One was my friend Cindy, and I had to give the painting back to her. And the other one I gave to my daughter, my older daughter. She's looking down and holding her dog. And it was a very sentimental, tender moment. And she had to put her dog to sleep. So I gave her the painting. So she would have it.
yeah.
But that was not fashion at all.
No.
It was just a tender moment between the two of them. But Holly, I have to thank you so much for your insight. It's just so inspiring. Sometimes someone outside can see or review your work better than what you can do yourself.
I agree. Yeah.
I did.
Yeah, I have to agree with Holly. You can really see you can really see the long lines of some of the figures and things like that.
Yeah.
It's stylized, and it's actually quite pleasing. And one thing that I noticed with all of your paintings, the eyes were especially well done.
Yes.
You know, you could just, when you
Yes.
focused in on those eyes, I would say that that's probably must be the most important painting part of the painting to you, because they are beautiful.
Mm,
The eyes
Beautifully
and the eyes and cheekbones,
Yeah.
definitely.
right.
the eyes,
Thank you.
definitely. I noticed that too.
Mhm.
One of the things I appreciated about Marilyn, just seeing the sort of range of her work from the fine art, sort of abstract pieces that I've seen of her to these, and I just love the layering of the fine details. And it's hard to see that even in the film, but you do get it, and in person and in life, it's so beautiful to like search the painting for like
Mhm.
the small details, and I really appreciate like the sort of intricacy of that, and sort of the intricacy of like the see-through fabrics,
Yes.
the sort of comfortable positions, or like even the placement of people. It was just, it's like there's like a tenderness, but like it's just so layered with details, and I did appreciate what Holly mentioned about like the sort of look of like lifestyle, a certain kind of lifestyle, and how it's reflected. And I could definitely glean that from what I saw. And one of the story you mentioned to me in person when we met was the story of painting your husband, and how you painted that. I don't know if you remember what you told me, but that would be a beautiful story to close this out with today.
I, should I say? Oh, okay.
I'm on pins and needles. Yeah, please.
I I was saying that you meet people later in life, or your partner, or you make friendships later in life, um, and you'd love to have known that person as they were growing up. Were they fun? You know, how would your lives have connected if you had met them younger? Those are years that you missed out. Someone else got the pleasure of being with them and you didn't. And the only compensation is if you have children of your own, because then you're seeing them from birth growing up. But the adult people that you meet in your life, you only know them from that point on. And that's why I liked that, doing that painting, because it was a little insight into his love of his dog, and he just enjoyed being with his pet.
So out of curiosity, that painting, that was from a pic. That was from a photo. From
Yes,
okay.
yeah. And I'm trying to remember. I think it might have even been a black and white photo that I was working from. Because a lot of them from back then were.
For a second there, when we mentioned that, I thought he had said that it was literally from when he was 16. I was like, oh, you have a painting from all the way back. I mean, wait a minute. Let me be careful here. You have a painting from 2 years ago? Oh, that's amazing. That you kept it that long. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it to come that way. But I thought that was fascinating. Like, oh, but I find it touching, honestly. I do. All of these are it's a labor of love, especially doing painting of your loved ones, isn't it?
Yes, yeah, it is.
You feel like you're connecting with them in a way that it's different than, it's like you're finding the summation of who they are, rather than and that's something that you can only do when you're making an artwork of them. It's this weird kind of experience, right?
Yeah, I wish I had gotten a likeness. I mean, that's not my forte, getting a likeness necessarily. I mean, you know, my one daughter with the prom thing, she said, well, that doesn't look anything like me. Well, you are pretty, and that's a pretty girl, so that's as close as I can get.
All right, folks.
It would have been nice to have gotten more of a resemblance.
I'm just noticing the time. We're a little over. But before we do close, I just wanted to open up the opportunity if there's any other volunteers for our next art share. The space is open now for volunteers, for folks on this call.
Is Susan going to be prepared to be showing some artwork at some point?
Oh yeah, I can show artwork. I got lots of it.